we're ranking every main character from all the Pixar movies. I do need to make some disclaimers before we start. This isn't going to be every single movie because, as you know, some movies are franchises, they have sequels. And I only really wanted to do the main character. I didn't want to kind of be like, oh, well, they're kind of like another main character, the second main character, two main characters. I tried to just take one from each movie. There aren't some represented here, such as Toy Story 1 to 2. I just kind of have Woody for the whole Toy Story franchise, because to be honest, Toy Story 2 kind of also a Woody story. Maybe you can argue Jessie, but again, it's not like stand out the main character. Same with Toy Story 3. So I do have some criteria here and there, but feel free to let me know if I should have added someone to this list as like a main character of a Pixar movie, right? But I try to check off everything I can, and if I felt like a sequel or a prequel, in Monsters University's case, had a different standout main character, the main, I added them. So those out the way, we'll get right into this tier list. I can put them anywhere. This isn't a normal one that I normally do where I kind of restrict myself for putting a certain amount of slots for each tier. I don't restrict myself with this one. People can go wherever they want. We got S, A, B, C, and D. As you guys know, the more to the top you are, the better that is for you to be in my tier list ranking. And I did put them all in chronological order from the movies that I'm taking them off of. Woody is an interesting exception because, yeah, he's technically like Toy Story as a franchise, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, I love Woody. 4, I don't really want to get into Toy Story 4. You guys probably know if you see my Toy Story 5 teaser video, I kind of acknowledged it, but I don't like Toy Story 4. But even just the first 3 movies, 1 through 3, Woody is a standout character. Honestly, if I was just doing a top 10 Pixar characters of all time, not only would he easily make that list, he's easily in the top 2. And maybe he's not even number 2. Woody is an easy S tier character. He's so easy to follow throughout the franchise. And honestly, as much as I don't like Toy Story 4, one of the only redeeming qualities is just Woody as a character. That is how impactful he is. That's how great of a character that he is. Woody has to go in the S tier, and I would feel like I should be arrested if I didn't put him in S tier. He started off basically everything, Toy Story being the first movie, and his character growth, honestly, throughout the trilogy at least, is really, really solid. The growth he goes through, the development, the personality is there, his attributes, his characteristics, all there. He hits every single mark on the checkbox and the bucket list that you could possibly ask for. So Woody's gonna go in S tier. Next we have Flick, obviously the main character of A Bug's Life, Pixar's second movie. This one, I'm not gonna lie, he's a fine main character. I will be honest, I do think sometimes he is slightly annoying where I can't really resonate with him. I understand his struggles, he's trying to fit in. And on a scale, he can be relatable. I just think they still could have made him a little less annoying, in my opinion. He's still a fine character. I think he's a lot better toward the end of the movie. I just think at the beginning he's a little annoying, but granted, maybe that's just a part of his character. And then he grows from that. I just think there's better depictions of that even from other movies. So honestly, Flick, he has redeeming moments near the end. He stands up to Hopper, the main villain, of course. I'm gonna go with, I'll be honest, I just think he's also a little forgettable sometimes. I'm gonna go with C. That might be a little harsh, but I'm gonna put him down in C. Next we have Sully. Obviously, the main character of Monsters, Inc. I did choose him over Mike. To be fair, I did put Mike from Monsters University. So you'll see both of them in this tier list. But this is strictly Sully from Monsters, Inc., not the franchise. Just want to clear that up. This one, I honestly, borderline another S tier character. I think Sully's incredible because he comes off as yeah, he's the scariest monster in town, but you know that he's more layered than just being a scary monster that wants to scare kids. He learns throughout the movie. You kind of see that he's kind of a scary figure, but with an insane moral compass. He means well. His dynamic with Mike is really fun too. And Boo, of course. We can't forget Boo. But overall, I think Sully, again, is another character that, honestly, I also appreciate the characters that I feel can actually last if you want to make a franchise off of something. I want to see more of Sully's story. I want to see more story told by him, and we have that through Monsters U, the prequel, and Monsters at Work, the TV show that is actually getting renewed for a season 3, so that's still going. We're still going to see more of Sully as a character, which I am so looking forward to, of course. But I have to put him in S tier, behind Woody, of course, but he is an incredible character. I don't know how many other characters are going to go above Sully, if I'm being honest. Next we have Marlin, another great contender. Main character of Finding Nemo, of course. Obviously, the big reason you sympathize with him, despite the fact that, yes, he's very controlling and protective over Nemo, is the tragedy that happened with his wife. He's literally the first scene you see in the entire movie. Marlin's a great character. I also think he's really funny, you know? I kind of like when he gets ticked off. It's like a funny ticked off, and like, he means business. And hey, he got through all that just to save his son. Respect to that, because I feel like most of the fish would have just died. I will put him in A. I don't want to... The only reason why I don't want to say S tier is, again, I feel like the franchise had to expand beyond him once Finding Dory came out. And, like, yeah, he was fine. He did his purpose. And he's still a great character with a lot of layers. I just think other ones have slightly more layers to them. And to be fair, we've seen a little bit more of them. And then maybe a little more to their backstory outside of just a tragic incident. But still, Marlin is a great, great character. He's probably my favorite character from Finding Nemo. 100%. I love Finding Nemo. But we're going to go with A for Marlin here. I feel like it's a fair spot to put him. Next, we have Mr. Incredible, or Bob Parr, however you want to call him. Bob, amazing character from The Incredibles. Not the main character of Incredibles 2. That's why you also see Elastigirl on this tier list. But I think this one I'm also going to have to... You know what? I think he's such a nice layered person because he's also very flawed. I'm actually going to put him in S tier right alongside Woody and Sully. I think Mr. Incredible is so layered, and I love how you see how he was back in his golden days, and then 15 years later he has his kids trying to hide from the world, trying to keep his identity a secret. And I'll be honest, even when he was a superhero, yeah, he came off as a little snotty, which also adds layers to his character because, you know, he's not the most nicest person ever. He had flaws. He had mindsets that were a little flawed. He learned. He grew. And it's almost like a depression state too. I think they handle just the depression of aftermath of, like, you know, not being able to do what you used to be able to do so well. Bob Parr is such a good character for that. Incredibles 2, you don't really see much of that. I feel like he's a little regressed in Incredibles 2, but this, I mean, obviously we're just talking about the first one. Insane. This is a great character for sure. S tier immediately. Lightning McQueen, good old Ka-Chow from Cars, the main character of Cars, of course, talking red race car. Lightning McQueen, where do we put good old McQueenie boy? I'm gonna go, honestly, McQueen's a great character. And this is gonna be one where I consider the franchise 2 and Cars 3. Overall, I feel like I have to put him as another S tier character. I feel like it's just in terms of the general Pixar audience, McQueen doesn't really get the accolades that he honestly deserves as just being a main character. I just think people just kind of see him as face levels. Oh, okay, he's just an asshole that turned nice. Like, I think he's way more than that, especially in Cars 3. He's way more than that. And I really like the journey that he goes on and the messages that it sends. Is really nice. Oh, I know it's not like the most layered message in the world. That is still why he's behind Mr. Incredible. He's behind Sully. He's behind Woody. But Lightning McQueen goes through so many different things, and I like that it's actually progressional. It's natural. It flows well. It's not like a snap of the fingers. Oh my god, he turned nice all of a sudden. He's not an asshole. I think it makes sense. They did it pretty well. And yeah, Lightning McQueen. What else can I say? He's Lightning McQueen. Ka-Chow, baby. So yeah, Lightning McQueen goes in S tier. Right behind them, though. But I just think he definitely has a lot more to him than people maybe give him credit for. Outside of just being a fast race car, you know, who says Ka-Chow. Next we have Remy. Oh, I love Remy. You know, you guys are going to notice I like a lot of the classical Pixar movies. Remy has to be like another S tier for me. Like, Remy has such a good message behind him too. Just, he's kind of meant to symbolize, I guess, just outcast, maybe not being favored, thinking that you can't do something, but you have the talent, but it's just because of how you were born or what you do that's maybe you can't really showcase that. A really good message, and I really like Remy. He's easily like the best rat they could have done to be the main character, because obviously there's a bunch of rats, he has a family and stuff. But yeah, and obviously, maybe he's like the only person that can put Gordon Ramsay. He's the only person that can shut Gordon Ramsay up, probably. So Remy goes in S tier immediately. I just really like the message he puts throughout the movie. I kind of like how he sticks to his principles. He's very determined to prove people wrong. It's a nice message. It's a nice, like, I guess, accolades you put on a main character to be able to follow them and whatnot. And this is on the basis that I'm only basing him off of one movie, and he gets an S tier, which is pretty impressive. Next, we have WALL-E. Guys, I'll be honest. I really like WALL-E. I like WALL-E the character, by the way. The movie I still like, but I was talking about WALL-E the character. I'm gonna go with B with WALL-E. I think he's a good character for what he is. He has a lot of good moments. I just think maybe he's a little too restricted in what I can actually see. I know he kind of talks through his, I guess, actions. You know, he doesn't actually speak with words. He's a robot. You know, he makes sounds. He shows emotions, but yeah, I think he's like just kind of in the middle for me. And just in terms of main characters, in terms of the entire tier list, I do really like him. Probably like Eve slightly more, but WALL-E's a fine character. I just think some of these other characters are slightly better layered than WALL-E is, in my opinion. And like I said, just kind of hard to really connect with him than I do with other characters. That's just me. I'm not trying to throw shade at WALL-E. I'm just trying to like say how I feel about it. But WALL-E's a B. Still good. Like, B tier is pretty good. Like, I'm not disrespecting WALL-E. If I was disrespecting him, he'd be like down in D. But no, he's definitely at least a B. Honestly, maybe even put him in A, but I want to balance this tier list out a little bit. That's why he's going to go in B. Next, we have Carl Fredricksen. Honestly, for being an old guy, you think is stereotypical, he lost his wife. I still think he has a lot of layers to him. He also has a lot of development with Russell becoming almost like a father figure to him, kind of opening his social circle a little bit that way, because before he met Russell, very to himself, just wanting to get to Paradise Falls. I think he's a solid, probably another solid B tier character, maybe right above WALL-E, because he's fine. He's really cool, and he has nice development. Honestly, the shorts too. I don't know if you guys know the Doug Day shorts from Disney Plus, their original Disney Plus shorts. Yeah, he's amazing in that. I have to give him credit for that. Honestly, those shorts alone might put him in A. Okay, you know what? I'm actually gonna be a little nicer. We'll put him in A, right behind Marlon. He's a great character. I love Carl Fredricksen. Rest in peace to his actor, of course, which is really sad. I'm glad he at least was able to do Carl, though, for the whole short with Ellie. You know, revolving around Ellie, and he wanted to go on a date. You kind of have to watch shorts to understand it, but it's really wholesome. Next, we have Tow Mater. The first time we've seen a character from the same franchise that we went over with Cars 1 with Lightning McQueen. Obviously, he's the main character of Cars 2. You know, I love the Cars franchise, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to put him behind C just as a main character. I love Mater. It just didn't really click in Cars 2. It didn't. Him as the main character just did not work. It did not work in the slightest. Sometimes he just comes off as slightly frustrating, kind of almost out of character. They almost dumped him down a little too much from Cars 1. He's not the worst main character on this list by any stretch of the imagination. I think some will genuinely go in D tier, maybe because I just really just don't care about them. I care about Mater, which is also what frustrates me a little more, is that the fact that I care about him, and yet I have to kind of come out disappointed like this. But yeah, just Mater is just built to be a secondary side character, supporting character, not the main character. I don't know what Cars 2 was thinking with that. But yeah, I have to put him in C tier. Not gonna go with D because at least Mater is like somewhat funny in some moments, and somehow with the whole spy group he's involved in with Finn and Holly, he's probably the smartest one. Don't know how that happened, but that's Cars 2's writing for you. Next we have Merida. Probably another forgettable one, to be honest. She's probably gonna go down in C tier along with Mater, but I'm gonna put her behind Flick. Obviously, Merida is like the first princess that Disney tried to tackle, which is really cool. I really like the combinations that she had, especially with her mom. You know, at some point that was really fun. I don't really have much to say about Merida. Brave's a very forgettable movie to me, albeit as it is, but I'll put her in C tier. Next we have Mike Wazowski, main character of Monsters University. I don't think he was as good as a main character as Sully in Monsters Inc. However, he's very underrated as a main character of Monsters University. Like, I'm gonna put him immediate A tier. Hot take, I might actually put him slightly above Marlon. And the only reason why I say this is because I think that Mike really kind of symbolizes the concept of disabilities. Being in these environments where your disabilities are kind of letting you down and people look down on you is a really good message. The college life, it's stressful, and I think MU does such a good job portraying that. I won't argue with that at all. Monsters University in general might be the most underrated Pixar movie in my opinion, but Mike is such a good main character, and this is a scenario where they slightly, albeit Mike was still a main character in Monsters Inc., but I feel like Monsters Inc. kind of gave Sully more of the focus between the two, and then Monsters U definitely gave Mike more of a focus between the two, which is really cool. But yeah, Mike really worked in MU in my opinion. And Mike is probably a top 5 Pixar character for me. I just really love him. Next we have Joy from Inside Out. She is probably going to go as another A tier. I'm also going to put her above Marlon. Maybe, do I put her above Mike? You know what? Because she resembles literally the concept of Joy, and I just think the progression of like a character just named Joy, understanding at least the importance of sadness and going through all these different emotions, probably a little more of an impactful, deeper, creative message. I'm actually going to put her above Mike if Mike will go behind her. Okay, cool. She's going to the top of A tier. Borderline S tier, but the only reason why I don't put her in S tier is because I feel like if not only do you have to be the main character, like you literally just have to stand out as like, yeah, you control this story. I feel like she also kind of was controlling the story along with Sadness, to be fair. And Riley, of course. Obviously, they're in Riley, but yeah, Joy is a great character. I also really liked her in Inside Out too. I guess I'm also accounting for that. And Joy's character arc, even going into Inside Out 2, is really impactful. And Inside Out 2 really gives her a lot of more credit in her bank. Next we have Arlo. I'm not going to spend too much time on Arlo. Very forgettable movie, very forgettable character. Honestly, I'm putting him in D. I just think it's a very forgettable movie, and kind of feels like a Lion King ripoff, if I'm being honest, a little bit, slightly. Yeah, I just don't really. I literally rewatched The Good Dinosaur somehow. I don't know how I managed it over the summer, and yet I just don't really mind. I barely even remember. Just not rememberable at all. Just kind of forgettable, unfortunately. Next we have Dory. Kind of similar to Mater, where you're kind of taking the comic relief character and putting them in the spotlight. Although this one I think worked better. I still think she's kind of forgettable as a main character. I'm actually still going to put her in C. But I'll put her right above... I'm going to put her right behind Flick. And right before Merida. Nothing against Dory, but as the lead character, it's fine. I mean, her arc with her family is pretty sweet, and I do think she has a nice progression throughout the story. But a lot of this is just coming down to, I think, just a little forgettable. And I think there's a ton of other better main characters. But, you know, I think it wrapped up her story pretty nicely. It was a nice conclusive arc to Dory. Next, we have Miguel, main character of Coco. We're getting a Coco too, but obviously I'm not accounting for that. We have no idea what that plot's gonna be. Next, we're gonna put him in B, actually. I kind of like him chilling with Wally. I'll put him behind Wally, though. I do think some other characters sometimes stand out more, even as focus characters in this movie. Yes, Miguel is the focus, but I think other characters just do a better job at just kind of standing out a little bit more. So, like Hector, for example. Hell, even like Imelda, you know? So, yeah, I'm fine with putting him in B tier. He's just kind of like okay, he's good, but he's just kind of like a middle tier for me. Next, you have Elastigirl, main character of Incredibles 2. I do like Helen Parr in this movie, albeit maybe a little out of character sometimes. I feel like she should have caught on to certain things. She did, it's just like the time of which she did. Elastigirl is a fine main character, but I still don't think she's anything crazy outside of just being a B tier character. I'm also probably going to put her right underneath Miguel and Wally. You know, this is kind of how I'm feeling with her. Next we have Ian, which is from Onward, the first Pixar movie of the 2020s. He's a fine main character. Honestly, I'm also going to put him in B, maybe also a little forgettable. slightly, but I just think Onward's actually a really underrated Pixar movie. I love the dynamic with him and his brother, which I don't remember his name right now, unfortunately, but his big brother has such a good dynamic with him. Great character, you know, the sympathy he has just wanting to know who his dad was. Like, it's really cool stuff. I really like Ian. I feel like he could honestly leave a TV show. You know, he could lead that if they did a Onward TV show, which would be kind of cool. Next we have Joe, which is this guy from Soul. Technically he appears more as like a literal soul and not human form, but I don't know. Honestly, it's a fine main character. I'm probably gonna put him in C though, to be honest. I just think he's a little less layered than Ian, probably a little less than Flick. I'm gonna go like right before Merida, I guess, behind Dory. At least I feel like Dory, maybe you attached to her a little bit more, which I know is kind of unfair to say because she's really had a whole movie. This is an original. Dory's just a part of the sequel. But yeah, I mean, Joe's a fine character. A lot of these characters, I think they really help their dynamics with other ones. But yeah, I'm putting Joe there in C. I think it's kind of fair in my judgment of him. Next we have Luca, and we have... Honestly, Luca's a really good character as well. I'm gonna put him at like the end of... I don't know. It's kind of tough. I don't even think he's a better main character than Flick. And I really need to stress this. Okay, some of these I kind of dislike, like Arlo, for example. But even if you're in C tier, I don't hate you as a main character. For the most part, I don't hate you as a main character. But yeah, Luca's fine. I'd probably put Luca like after Dory still, and maybe after Joe as like just a main character. Before Merida, before Mater. Yeah, I'm fine with putting Luca there. Again, I feel like maybe other characters like Julia stood out a little bit more. But I do think his progressive arc is fine. You know, he wants to go to school and stuff, but I just feel like other characters even had more development to them than Luca. Like even, well, I don't even know what his friend's name was. Alberto, right? Yeah, I feel like he has slightly more development in terms of his mindset on things. Next we have Buzz Lightyear, not the Toy Story Buzz, like what is supposed to be the live action version of Buzz in the Toy Story universe that Andy went to go see, and why he got a Buzz Lightyear toy, which is not canon, by the way. I don't buy that. You want to know what I do buy? Lightyear was the shitty reboot that came out when Andy was in his 20s, and he said, "This looks garbage. This is not my Buzz Lightyear." That is what I can canonize. I'm sorry, he goes in D. Even more forgettable than Arlo because he's actually, I feel like, a spit in the face. He is a proper spit in the face. I just don't care about him. Really horrible parody. Lightyear's just a really bad spin onto the Toy Story movies. That's just my opinion. Next we have, what is her name? Mei Lee or something like that? The female lead of Turning Red. I'm gonna also put her in D. I remember watching this movie, actually for the first time earlier this year. She actually kind of annoyed me a little bit, I'll be honest. Even like some of her other main characters, like her friends, I should say, feel like they could have been better leads. Sometimes I feel like some characters can be almost too annoying to the point where like I struggle to sympathize with them. Like, you can be slightly off-putting, but still be relatable. I want to follow your journey. This one, I'll be honest, I just didn't really want to follow her journey. I actually was kind of on her mom's side a lot at the time. So yeah, I'm just gonna put her in D tier. Maybe after Arlo. I think Arlo at least has better reasonings and somewhat progresses from being, you know, kind of scared of the world to being a little more braver. But yeah, what is her name? May or something? I'll put her in the middle. Next we have Amber. Honestly, a fine main character, in my opinion. Like, she's fine. Maybe I'd also put her in C though, in terms of main character status. I'm gonna put her like probably after. Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna actually put her above. I'm gonna put her like at the top of C. So Flick will go behind. Amber's gonna be the top of C. Kind of like that placement. Really cool. And I do like her dynamic with the water character. I forgot his name, but I watched this movie as well over the summer. Amber's a really fine character. I really liked her personality, and I do think she has a good growth from her family, wondering what she wants to do and whatnot. Next we have Riley. This one was probably the most controversial for me to put on this tier list, because do you guys classify Riley as the main character of Inside Out 2? I kind of feel like I should, and she deserved it, because I feel like she kind of stood out more as like we kind of saw Riley in Inside Out 2 more than Inside Out 1. I feel like Inside Out 1 we're kind of in her head a lot, but Inside Out 2 I feel like I see more of Riley the character. And Riley the character, honestly, it's just a nice emotional impacting growth. I'm actually gonna put her at like the end of A in terms of main characters. I feel like Riley can actually be her own main character, and it really works. It was really fun. And the TV show's great as well, albeit that's like the production studio inside her head. But her anxiety attack was really well written, really well portrayed. The visuals were crazy with that. And finally, the movie that came out this year, we have Elio from Elio, of course. Again, it's another forgettable one. I'll be honest, this character I also found very annoying to me. Yeah, I know, it just sucks to say that. I'm probably gonna put him in like also D tier, probably behind May and Arlo. So yeah, that is my entire tier list of where I would rank all the main characters from Pixar movies. I went over the criteria at the start of this video. Again, let me know if there's someone I should have had. Do you think I should have had Buzz Lightyear? Probably fair. You know what? Just to tell you guys at the end of this video, if Buzz was a part of this tier list, he'd also go in S tier, just so you know. But thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry, I've been talking for like over 26 minutes. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.